Another month is in the book, so let's kick off June with a MLB Power Rankings. You all seem to really enjoy this series last time I made it in early May, so hope you guys enjoy it once again, and let's go ahead and get right into it. Starting at number 30, it can't be anybody else but the Colorado Rockies, who across their last 30 games have only won 5 times. That's all that really needs to be said. This team is terrible. They've completely imploded. They've fired multiple members of staff. It's just been a really bad year for the Colorado Rockies. Number 29, it's another team. Could they be anywhere else? It's Chicago White Sox. They have also not been playing great baseball. The run differential is a little bit more kind to them than some of the other teams that we'll be talking about in a minute. But again, not great baseball. Won only 11 games out of their last 30, 8 of their last 20. Just not been a great team so far this year, but have been improved upon last year. At number 28, we have the Athletics, who in my May rankings, I was kind of up on, but I had my doubts just because their run differential was not good at all. But they were putting up wins at that point in the year, but they've dropped quite a bit, dropping 9 spots after winning one of their last 10 games, three of their last 20, and only eight in their last 30. That is the second lowest mark in all of baseball over that time. They're really struggling, giving up a ton of runs so far this year. Their strength of schedule has also not been that hard, so they're really just struggling on all fronts, except for the offense, which has been pretty decent so far. At number 27, dropping 2 spots, is the Baltimore Orioles, who, all things considered, have been playing slightly better baseball as of late. They've won 6 of their last 10, but they only won 11 games out of their last 30, so it's not a team that you're looking at as making huge strides forward. Hopefully, they can continue to turn it around and get at least somewhere back to the team we know they should be. Obviously, it's probably too little too late at this point in the season, but at least show some fight. For the Miami Marlins, they're going to stay here at number 26 this time. Just another team that's been pretty uninspiring so far this year, other than Kyle Stowers, who's been great. Over their last 30 games, they've only won 11 games as well. 9 out of their last 20. Just haven't really done that much impressive. They are around 500 against clubs that are under 500, so that's something of note. But against clubs that are over 500, they are absolutely struggling. So, not a team that's really doing much of anything so far this year. We have our first gainer of the list with the Pittsburgh Pirates here at number 25, gaining 2 spots after playing some pretty decent baseball after making Don Kelly the manager of the team. Over their last 10 games, they've actually won 6 of them. They are above 500 against teams that are under 500. They've just been playing slightly better baseball, and that's what pushes them over these other teams here at the bottom. For the Los Angeles Angels at number 24, they tacked on 4 spots, even though they really didn't perform that well this last month. I think it's more so of the other teams struggling than them really performing that great because they only won 14 of their last 30 games. They won 11 of their last 20, but only 4 of their last 10. So they haven't been outstanding by any means, but playing 500 ball at this sort of level kind of gets you a boost in the rankings. And that's where we're kind of at with the Los Angeles Angels at number 24. At number 23, we have the furthest falling team of the list, and that is the Arizona Diamondbacks, falling 13 slots in this ranking. And that's because they've been playing some bad baseball as of late, only winning one out of their last 10 games. They only won 12 out of their last 30. They are struggling against teams over 500. The strength of schedule has been pretty tough, all things considered, but they haven't really been doing much, especially on the pitching side, and they just haven't looked like the team that we expected coming into the season. At number 22, I have the Boston Red Sox losing 7 spots. Another team that's been really disappointing so far this year. They are the first team on the list with a positive run differential, but aside from that, there isn't many great signs to point to. They've lost 7 out of their last 10, 12 out of their last 20, 18 of their last 30. They just haven't looked that great as of late. They are 6 and 15 in one-run games, and you really expect that to be close to 500. So that is a sign that they will probably start to bounce back and win some more games coming up. But as of right now, I have to keep them here at number 22. At number 21, we had the Atlanta Braves losing 4 spots. Now, I wasn't as quick to jump on they're the all the way back bandwagon that we kind of started to see at the end of April, but I did start to see improvement, so I put them towards middle of the pack, and they have just not been playing good baseball as of late. 3 out of their last 10 have been wins, 9 out of their last 20, 15 out of their last 30. So they've been playing close to 500 baseball. They've actually had a plus run differential in the year and have been struggling in one-run games as well. So kind of like the Boston Red Sox, I expect them to bounce back at some point and kind of get closer to 500, if not above. But I don't know. We're not seeing that same Atlanta magic. At number 20, we have the Texas Rangers, who have not been playing good baseball. It's kind of been the reverse of what you would expect up to this point in the year because the pitching has actually been pretty good, all things considered. It's been the hitting that's been letting them down. They're only scoring 3.3 runs per game, which is down there with the likes of the Pittsburgh Pirates, down there with the likes of the Colorado Rockies. That's just not not realistic to continue, I don't think. I think this offense has too many good names to continue to do that. So I'm holding firm here at number 20, but if they keep struggling, they could fall even further. At number 19, we have the Washington Nationals, who actually have been playing decent baseball as of late. They've won four straight at the time of this recording. They've won seven of their last 10, 11 of 20, 15 of 30. They've been playing a lot better baseball as of late. Obviously, struggled to start the year. We've seen James Wood blossom into a superstar. Mackenzie Gore's been great, but the rest of that pitching staff has been pretty much non existent. It feels like they're giving up 5.2 runs per game, which is up there with some of the worst marks in baseball. The Marlins, Orioles, Athletics, teams like that. You're starting to get up there with that, and that's never a good sign. But the offense has actually shown really great stuff so far this year. Just need to see it prolonged over a course of a full season, and you would love to see some pitching development as well. For Cincinnati Reds, it's a team I just cannot figure out for the life of me. They've lost four spots from their last month, and that's just because they aren't putting wins on the board. They are under 500 at the time of this recording, but they have a pretty good run differential, all things considered. They are pretty much just a 500 club. They're 15 and 16 against teams that are above 500 and 14 and 14 against teams that are under 500. They've just kind of right in the middle, and I would just expect better whenever you think of the run differential and how many runs they score, how good the starting pitching has been. I just expect this team to be better, especially with Terry Francona coming out of retirement to manage this team. I just expected things to be buttoned up a little bit better. And then at 17, it's the Kansas City Royals losing one spot here. And it's not because they've been playing bad baseball either. I mean, all things considered, they've won 17 of their last 30. But this is a team that really limits itself in how it can win. The starting pitching, the bullpen, lights out. Just absolutely lights out. But the offense, it's down there with the Pirates and the Rockies. It's really not great so far this year. Obviously, Michael Garcia's been having a good year. Bobby Witt's going to do Bobby Witt things, but the rest of the team has not been that great. And I just have my worries about this team moving forward long term because whenever you are not hitting, it leaves so few of options and puts so much pressure on that rotation, that bullpen to be great. They've also been really good in one-run games, which they have to be, or else they will be a losing team. And I just have my concerns, but they are starting to get into this like close to 500 tier that we're in here at 17. At number 16, we have the Toronto Blue Jays, who do gain 8 spots into this position. That's because they've been playing some pretty decent baseball as of late. They've won four straight, six of their last 10, 12 of their last 20, and 17 of their last 30. They're not overly performing in the one-run game differential either. They've had a pretty easy strength of schedule, and you see that with their record above 500 teams. They've won 19 of their 28 games against teams that are below 500. They've struggled against teams that are over 500. But I think this team, what puts them over the Royals in my mind is their offense is quite a bit better and allows them a lot more ways to win. At 15, we have the Cleveland Guardians, who do have a slightly better record at 31 and 26 than the Blue Jays, but they are kind of very similar. They are negative in the run differential. You would expect them to be sub 500 if you took the Pythagorean win loss. They are performing okay in their last 10, 6 out of their last 10, 9 out of their last 20, 16 of their last 30. So they're kind of right there at about 500, a little bit above, a little below, depending on what sample you look at. And they're just very, very similar. They just have a slightly better record. So I have them here at number 15, losing 4 spots. For the Seattle Mariners, it's been such a mixed bag so far this season. They're losing 6 spots because at the end of April into that May ranking, they had won like 8 straight games or something like that. Now, obviously, they've cooled off. They're not as hot anymore. And you're seeing some of the faults of this team. And that's because the rotation has actually been tagged with a lot of injuries. Logan Gilbert and Brian Wu have been doing their thing, but George Kirby, Bryce Miller have really struggled to even be on the field. And whenever they are, they're just not the same pitcher that we would have expected. But the offense is actually hitting. They're scoring right in line with the New York Mets. And they've been kind of carrying this team up to this point in the year. They haven't been playing the best baseball as of late, but it's just a team that if they can keep this offense up, the pitching comes back along, they'll be right there in one of these top team conversations. The team that's been extremely hot is the Tampa Bay Rays coming in here at number 13, gaining 7 spots And that's because they have won 8 of their last 10, 13 of their last 20, and 16 of their last 30. They are plus in the run differential by a good margin, and they are not like overperforming in one run games by any means. They're beating teams that are over 500 weirdly at a better clip than they're beating teams under 500, but it's always a good sign if you can play teams that are above 500 well. They're just doing a lot of things well, and it's finally translating into wins this season. At number 12, we have the Minnesota Twins coming off that massive win streak. Feels like they're coming off that, cooling down a little bit, but that's not to say they've been really impressive over their last 20 games, tied for the best record in baseball over that span at 14-6. They're beating up on teams under 500 at 15-6. Above 500, they're struggling a little bit at 16-20, but they've been pretty good. They're not overperforming in the one-run games. The Pythagorean theorem loves them. They have a good foundation here at number 12. Then you have the Houston Astros, who just feel like they won't go away. They keep finding producers. This year, it's Jeremy Pena who's breaking out in a big way. Isaac Paredes is doing his thing, and Houston just hitting a ton of balls into the Crawford boxes. This team is just solid. They are just a slightly above average team that just continues to produce out wins. They're just doing things the right way. They're winning 6 of their last 10, 12 of their last 20, 16 of their last 30. They aren't necessarily going on a huge win streak. They aren't going on huge losing streaks. They are just riding the course of just a solid team here at number 11. Kicking off the top 10, we have the San Diego Padres, who start the year were on fire. It just feels like they've been cooling off ever since that. And I feel like I represented that because from that 7 to 11 range on my list, I feel like you can interchange those teams in pretty much any way you like, but I just couldn't find that the Padres were better than the teams above them from the fact that they are not beating up on good teams. They're really snacking on the bad teams at 21-6 below 500, but above 500, they're only playing 11-18 ball. Plus, they're 11-5 in one-run games, so they're really good whenever it comes to those in the game scenarios. But they haven't been the same against the really good teams in baseball that you would like to see them be able to compete against. Plus, they're not playing great baseball as of late. Only won 9 of their last 20. You expect at this point in the rankings, teams need to be well above that mark. So I have them falling quite a bit here to number 10. Not to say they won't jump right back up, but they just haven't been playing the greatest, in my opinion, and have a lot to prove against better teams. At number 9, I have the San Francisco Giants losing 4 spots very similarly in a fall like the Padres. The thing that kept me above the Padres is they have a lot better run differential. They've been doing better at keeping runs off the board, scoring at about the same pace. So they have a much better record expected wise and have been doing much better against teams above 500 at a 16-15 clip. Also struggling as of late with just 4 wins out of the last 10, 8 out of the last 20, 14 of the last 30. They've just been struggling as of late, but they have a better basis, a better baseline, in my opinion, especially in the games that they have played. Don't have a better record, but I think they have better long-standing results than the Padres have so far this year. Number 8, we have the Milwaukee Brewers, who have been playing fantastic baseball as of late, winning their last 6 games at this point in the recording. Their run differential isn't as great as the Giants, but whenever you're playing that good of baseball, I have to give you the nod. I'm going to give, if it's close, if it's like that, I'm going to give the nod to the hotter team. And winning 12 out of your last 20, 17 out of your last 30 will definitely suffice as that. And the same could be said for the St. Louis Cardinals here at number 14. No team has been hotter than the St. Louis Cardinals over the last month, other than the Philadelphia Phillies, who we will get to in a bit. But at 21-9 over the last 30 games, that is a really impressive mark. 14-6 over the last 20. This wasn't a team I believed in coming into the year. I had them as the 4th best team within this division, and they are currently sat here in the number 7 spot of my power rankings. So kudos to them. They're having a great year. They're really hot right now, and I hope they can continue it because they are a really fun story. At number 6, I had the Los Angeles Dodgers, and it's not a knock on the performance that the Dodgers have been doing. They've been scoring a crap ton of runs, the most by any team on a per game basis. They've been still pitching pretty decent, all things considered, whenever you think about the injuries that they've had. They're just a really solid team. They've been playing decent baseball. There's just not much to take away from this team except for the injuries. And if they get healthy at the right time, you know this team's going to shoot right back up into the top 3, 2, 1, somewhere in there. And you know this team's going to be unreal. 5, we have the New York Mets, who aren't as blistering hot as they were to start the year. That's not to say they've been playing bad baseball by any means. 17 wins in their last 30 games. But whenever you're talking about the top 5, you really start to get in some incredible teams that are also playing great baseball at the time. And they're just not as blistering hot. Just bear with me. They're here with an 18-10 record against teams above 500, 18-12 against teams under 500. So they've been playing pretty good baseball against whoever they play. Their pitching has been unreal this year, only giving up 3.3 runs per game, which is the lowest mark in baseball. They've just been doing things in a very sustainable way, and they've been really impressive all year long. And number 4, I had the Philadelphia Phillies, who aren't here because of their underlying numbers. They aren't here like the Mets or the Dodgers because they have a good run differential and played good baseball to start the year. No, they've just been winning games as of late. 21 of their last 30 games have been W's, 14 of their last 20, 6 of their last 4, but you have to consider they've lost 3 straight games coming into this. So these numbers were probably even more ridiculous just like half a week ago. They've been really impressive over the last month, and I have to give them their flowers. Again, the run differential, not great. The one run games are really going in their favor, and you would expect that to even out at some point. The record against teams above 500 isn't great, but this is a team that you know is going to keep winning games, and you just expect them to be somewhere at this point later on in the year. And number 3, we have the Chicago Cubs, who've just been a steady force all year long. They have really played a tough schedule to start the year. As of May came around, that schedule lightened up, and their record has just improved tenfold. They're 24-9 against teams under 500. 8 of their last 10 games have been W's, 14 of their last 6 have been W's, 19 of their last 30. They've just been playing good baseball all year. The pitching does have a little bit of concern. You do like to see the runs allowed per game go down, but whenever you're scoring 5.8 runs per game, you can live with a little bit of runs given up. Plus, they've played some really entertaining baseball up to this point in the year. Again, the one run games are kind of skewed in their favor, but as you get up this high, you expect teams that are good to be winning more games than not in the one run games. So that's okay for some extent, but they've just been playing a really exciting brand of baseball all year long, and I gave them the number 3 spot. They are the best team in terms of run differential, score a ton of runs. They don't give up very many at all. One run games are actually sub 500. So if you're, a betting man, you're going like, oh, if it's 50-50, they're pretty much right in line. So they're doing pretty well in that regard, beating teams over 500 at a consistent clip, smoking teams under 500. They've won 7 out of their last 10, 14 out of their last 20, 19 out of their last 30. There isn't much to take away except for the number 1 team's just been a bit better all year. And that's the Detroit Tigers. They're 38-21. Who saw that coming? We knew that they were a fun story last year, but they've really turned into a different beast this year. Scoring over 5 runs a game, allowing under 3.6, a massive run differential. They're good in one run games. They're beating teams over 500. They're decimating teams under 500. 16-3 clip against teams that are under 500. They've been playing good baseball. 20 of their last 30 games have been wins. There's nothing to take away from this team. They've just been good. They've just been great all year. And there's nothing to take away. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know what I got wrong and what I got right down below where you guys see the rankings. And as always, I hope you guys enjoyed it and have a wonderful day.